you are looking for an easy to play, fun to play, and very strong healer for world versus world zerg, for elementalist specifically, then don't look any further. This Evoker build is very easy to play, very strong in the healing output, and I would say very fun on top of that as well. I will explain every single thing that there is to know about this amazing build. As always, special shout out to all my dear supporters. I'm Summer, and now without much further ado, let's jump straight in. Before I start with the gear, I want to mention all the credits for the original build to Taigeta. Link to their channel is in the description down below. I just want to promote this build. I made some alterations. This is not the exact same build. I just think this is what I would run. With that much said, let's jump straight into the gear. So the gear is extremely straightforward. Really, it's really easy. You go for full minstrel gear with superior rune of the monk for the most amount of healing power. That's what you need to do. Easy, very straightforward. Tanky, a lot of healing power, a lot of concentration. And if you can afford infusions, you would go with healing infusions just for even more healing. You are a healer, you cleanse condis, you provide some wounds, and that's about it. Nothing else, no damage, nothing. For weapons, you would go staff. You can go 2 staffs, one for them for stacking sigil. Yep, sigil of benevolence, so that you stack, and then when you are at 25 stacks, you can swap, and then you will still keep the stacks to get more healing to your allies, and then you can use Sigil of Transference for even more healing to others. And I always like to run Energy Sigil, but you can also go for Renewal Sigil if you want to like get some more procs of healing. We will get to that in a second. But yeah, this is in general the setup that I would recommend. Transference and energy on the staff, that if you only can afford one, that would be the one. Trinkets again, full minstrel as well as the stave of course, also full minstrel of course. You want to have minstrel stats every single slot. For your relic, you want to run with Relic of Carcosa. It's just the best option. It gives you a lot of healing whenever you use a blast finisher in a combo field. Then you heal the allies. Not yourself, but you heal allies by like over 2k with the outgoing healing modifier. So that's really good. If you cannot afford this one or you don't have access to it, you can go for any healing based relic like Monk Relic, whatever you want, whatever you can find on a trading post or where you have access to. Relic of Carcosa is just by far the best in slot option here. Let's talk about the consumables now. The consumables are very straightforward as well. You want to go with bowls of spiced fruit salad for the minus 10% incoming damage and some healing power and concentration. If you cannot afford a sanded food or don't have access to it yet, go for delicious rice balls. Very straightforward, very cheap. Just a little bit less value, but still good. And then for utility consumables, you would go with bountiful maintenance oils or the mist version, so that you get some increased healing to others. That's just very good. They are somewhat expensive, but it's just so good you have to take them. Before I go to the trades, I want to mention, if you like this specific video, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, guides and tier lists all about Guild Wars 2, be sure to subscribe. But now, let's talk about the trades. The trades are very fun. Why are the trades fun? Because you take Arcane, Water and Evoker. And the most important part that you see here already is that I'm water locked. So I'm taking specialized elements trade. That will be very important to know about all the other trade choices that we make. That's why I start with this one. That means you cannot leave the water attunement, but you will be charging your water attacks by using your F5 skill. Your F5 skill is from Evoker, and it will be allowing you to heal your allies. And it has a very nice burst heal, and it also grants some regen, and it's unblockable, which is really important because it means that you can go through reflects with this and also like heal from a nice range. So that's very important. That's the important thing here about this. We will go over this trade in a second a bit more in detail. Just wanted to mention that here earlier that we are locking ourselves, and this will also activate your weapon swap trades and stuff like that. So it will trigger, whenever you use a familiar's attack, it will trigger as if you would have weapon swapped, which is really important for all the trades that we choose here. So we start with Arcane. The important part here is you will be waterlocked, so you will always only proc the water one, and it has a recharge time of 5 seconds. So you cannot spam this like at 1 second cooldown, it will still be at 5 seconds. So you can every 5 seconds gives regen for 8 seconds. Your regen is really potent, so that's already quite good. And then you have more concentration, and that's about it. Swapping elements restores some health for you, that's good because that's also proccing. Then you get some passive Geyser, which also revives allies. Also your Geyser here revives allies. Very weak, just 1%, but why not? It helps. And you get some aura when you begin reviving an ally. And then you get Evasive Arcana. You can only proc that in water, but that's the most potent one. It will heal your allies. So it's really good. It's just a heal, 3000, over 3000 with the outgoing healing modifiers. It also heals you and gives a Condi Cleanse. Really potent. So you see Arcane, even though it's normally around swapping attunements, you can get a lot of value from that. And then you have water, of course, healing, more passive healing, some healing when you swap to water, and then you get more outgoing healing modifiers, and your water weapon skills gain reduced recharge, really important because you only have those. Then whenever you grant region to an ally, you cleanse a condition from them, really, really good as well. And then when you swap to water, you cleanse another condition. Don't forget, those two traits proc when you use your familiar's attacks, so you get some healing when you use it, and you cleanse a condition. Yes, it has a 5-second internal cooldown, but still it procs quite often. And then you have, when you dodge, remove burning and chill from you and some nearby allies every 10 seconds. That's also quite good. Then Evoker, like I said, you have access to a familiar. Our familiar is the otter, so water, and we get some nice region is stronger, heals more, that's really, really good. And we get some passive healing outgoing modifiers to allies, really good. Then we take meditations, which our new utility skills are, grant boosts to nearby allies, so that means we can give some H's with our healing skill, we can give some region with our otter skill, and we can also give some like resistance here with the elemental procession, and if we take the third one, we can also apply some stability. So really, really good trait here. Then, like I said, we are using specialized elements traits, so we cannot swap out of water, but every time we use a normal familiar attack, it will give us 2 seconds of the attacks recharged, of the weapon attacks, and then the empowered one gives 6 seconds, which is really important because we have really long cooldowns here actually on our weapon skills, so we get more value from the big recharge. This trait will every second skill in water, except the water attack, auto attack, will charge the familiar. And then whenever you get the empowered charge, you get even more out of that. So the idea is that you use your weapon skills very often to charge your familiar, and whenever you have your familiar skill, you use the familiar skill to recharge your weapon skills. So there is some really nice cooldown reduction cycle going on. And then you have this trait, Elemental Dynamo. Whenever you use a familiar skill and empowered one, you trigger you're swapping in the attunement one. And this means that you also get another charge. So you already charge your familiar even faster. The combo of those two traits gives you a lot of access to like spamming your familiar skills with shield allies and recharges your weapon skills. That's the whole idea of this build. And your water weapon skills are really, really good for Zerg play. So let's cover them for a second. The auto attack is a nice heal, but not that crazy good. Then you have a blast finisher with the 2, which is really important, so that you proc your Caracosa relic very frequently. Also does some nice vulnerability. Then you have some heal, also revive, and the healing is very, very good. If you use that in conjunction with your ice spike, you get a blast finisher with the healing field, and that means you can get another proc of healing plus the Caracosa relic. Then you have the frozen ground. It's just an unblockable chill that also is an ice field and grants frost hour to allies, which is obviously a good aura because it reduces incoming damage by 10%. And then you have healing rain. That's probably the strongest skill here on your set because it heals when it cleanses conditions, and it cleanses a lot of conditions because it also cleanses conditions when it applies region from your traits, and it's a very long lasting water field which you can again use to blast with your ice spike. And you will see this how this works. You can see how I reset all the time my attacks using my familiar attacks, and then I spam my attacks like crazy. Even though I'm not in combat, I still get a lot of value from that. You see how easy it is to spam the attacks. It's crazy. A lot of healing here. And of course a lot of region. And your region will always be the most potent one because you have it empowered by multiple traits. Really, really strong. So then for your utility skills, you go for Rejuvenate, of course, because it grants a nice healing to yourself and it charges your familiar skill. So that's really good. And it also gives you H's, so that means that you get some nice boons, also for your allies actually, but the H's is not that good in competitive modes, but it charges your familiar skill, so you can use that to spam your attacks even more often. Like, this is the whole idea of this build, spam your water attacks. Then I like to go for Lightning Flash if you want to reposition. We talk about utility skills that you can swap out later, but this is what I like to use just to reposition. If you are in a cloud scenario, always take that. If you're not in a cloud scenario, I would swap to Glyph of Renewal, because then you can actually help your allies. Yes, you will always be in water, but that revives one target to 100%, which is probably one of the best ones. And that is very, very strong if you're an organized squad. But if you cannot trust your allies or you might be out of position, use Lightning Flash to be safe. Then always use Signet of Water. It's really strong, it revives, it cleanses conditions. It gives you passive some incoming damage reduction to conditions. It also chills and it applies a lot of healing. It's really overloaded, 20-second cooldown, very strong skill. Always use that one. Really good, 1200 range. And then you have Otter's Compassion, which is really good because it grants some nice boons. And it gives you for 6 seconds a 20% healing modifier increase. So even more healing, and it's a stun break because you are attuned to water, or like familiarized to water. That's really, really strong. And it cleanses some conditions. So it's really, really overloaded, really good skill. And if you want, you can swap like one of the utility skills to more stability for yourself with Armor of Earth if you really struggle to keep up with stability, but I would not recommend that. Typically you want to have some boon giver in your party anyway. And then you have Todd's Fortitude, which you can also use because it grants some stability and some protection to your allies. That can be good, but it's only 2 stacks, so I would not like always go for that. I think the Altar one, if you have enough stability, is way better in terms of like raw numbers. And then I would always take Elemental Procession because it gives you some nice resistance uptime for your allies, and this is a really fun skill because it charges all your like familiar attacks. It gives some Earth Thought, it gives some nice healing field, this nice some CC here with this attack, and some damage with the fire and the air one. So it's a nice skill, and it also helps if there is a high pressure situation, you can use this. With that, let's cover the gameplay loop. You can see in the background it's very fun to play, very strong to play. You are just spamming your water attacks. There is not a real combo or rotation other than just trying to use your Ice Spike as a blast finisher in combo fields. It doesn't have to be your own. You just use them and always try to, if the familiar skill is up, use the familiar skill. Because you will charge with every attack that you do, that is not the auto attack, on the water skills, you will get some value from it. So always try to use the splash and of course the empowered splash whenever you have it. That's the important part. And then use your water attacks on the allies. That's about it. Of course, you can use the repositioning tool if you have Lightning Flash. You can use your utility skills if necessary. And of course, if you have no water skills to use, you can even use a healing skill to charge your familiar, to get another familiar proc, and then charge your weapon skills again. So there's a lot of synergy behind all of that. So that's how you would typically play it. I hope you enjoy this build as much as I do. I think it's a very fun build for Zerg play as Evoker. And it's very unique, that much is for sure. Let me know your takes on this if you like this build. If you do, be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, like I said, don't forget to subscribe. I have way more build guides like this coming up. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video.